Hello everyone and welcome to Common Man Linux. I'm back with another video, and as you know, we discussed in our previous video about XFCE desktop environment and my Linux Mint XFCE system, which is you can see here that you can see MacBook Air 2017 Linux Mint 22.3 XFCE and all of this and how I used BTRFS and I got more storage and I got like things which are very fast, and I told you in previous video how Google Chrome and all the other browser and apps work so fast. So if I just type so fast, you just see it it instantly searches instantly. Even a slightest delay is not there during search. So that is like the power of XFCE. So in this video, this time we are going to explore XFCE desktop environment a little bit more, and how actually is XFCE desktop environment so fast and so you can say elegant, and we are going to dive little deeper into the XFCE desktop environment. Now here you can see that the XFCE desktop environment I have is very modern. I have this plank bar. It has a zoom in effect. Actually, it's not, the zoom in effect is not there by default. Panel is not there by default in Linux Mint XFCE or either in any XFCE version. This is what I have added to make it look more beautiful. So like this we can customize and still being lightweight. And you can see this plank. If I click on this, just this panel will appear, nothing. And if I go plank dash preferences, so here you can see icon zoom. This icon zoom was disabled, and as I disable this icon zoom, there is no zoom and that elegant effect of icons popping up and becoming a little bit larger. That effect gets disabled if I disable this icon zoom. And as soon as I enable, you can see we have an elegant pop-up of and like magnifying up of the icons. And so this is the XFCE desktop. Before diving deep into it, I just want to give you an introduction to XFCE. So let's have an introduction, and let's learn the history of XFCE. XFCE, introduction to XFCE desktop environment. So XFCE originated in 1996. XFCE desktop environment was created in 1996, and French developer Olivier Fourdin, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct, he introduced this desktop and he created it as a lightweight desktop environment for Unix-like systems. And initially, if you cannot see properly, I am just reading it. So initially, it was based on the XFORM toolkit and called the XFORM common environment. So like that XFCE, it was developed earlier. But after that, that XFORM common environment developed more, and it developed into XFCE. And it aimed to provide speed and simplicity while still being functional and customizable. Over time, XFCE evolved significantly. And let me tell you, XFCE is one of the very famous desktop environments in today's time. Every person who has little old hardware or even with new hardware, so XFCE works well on old as well as new hardware. Okay, but it's your choice. Like on new hardware, people usually don't use it, but they can use. So then the evolution is in 1996. It was rewritten using GTK, making it more flexible and open source friendly. By the early 2000s, XFCE experienced major growth, becoming widely adopted across Linux distributions, and many distributions started offering XFCE as a lightweight version, which Linux Mint also offers. And today it continues to be maintained by a global open source community known for its stability, efficiency, and customization. So just in short, this was the introduction. And the advantages of XFCE is very resource efficient. Like it uses very less RAM, and it is stable and reliable for long-term setups. XFCE goes very slowly, very stably, and you don't see any radical changes in XFCE desktop environment. That's why XFCE is not just lightweight, but it is best if you want a very stable experience of Linux and very fast and snappy Linux experience with not much animations. And the thing is that yes, XFCE does not have much animation, and that not having animation, that thing gives it the speed. So when we don't have animations, we have the speed. Okay, so easy to use the traditional desktop layout, start menu, taskbar, system tray, everything is there, and works well on both old and new hardware. As you know, the base is important. The desktop environment, you can choose any desktop environment. All the apps work in XFCE, no issues. And there are some few downsides, I would say, not disadvantages. It's downsides. Like everything which is, even if it is good, it has some pros and cons. So some cons are like fewer advanced features compared to KD Plasma or GNOME. That's like expected. Okay, who needs like too many features? But if you have a modern computer, you wish that, oh, I need more customization and more visual things and more animations, then you can go to KD Plasma or GNOME. But if you have a fairly modern computer, I would still recommend that you go with KD Plasma, because it is more like Windows. It has a bottom panel and everything. It is very much customizable. And to go with KD Plasma, you can use Fedora Kinoite, a very modern system. And Fedora Kinoite has a immutable distribution. Like you cannot you have a safety that you don't accidentally break that system, and all the updates are very well prepared. A base is prepared, and then it is deployed. And I will make a separate video on immutable systems, but Fedora Kinoite will be the best distribution if you want to try KD Plasma. We will make a video on it in future, and we will explore KD Plasma. And GNOME is also good. It is like not that much feature rich, and it has a very macOS like layout, which many new users don't find very home to. So I think people should start with KD Plasma, because all the customizations in KD Plasma are there inside the desktop, not outside. Outside KD Plasma is very simple, so go with KD Plasma. And UI looks simple, less modern by default. That's on XFCE. Yes, that's the thing, and it's okay. Like, who needs much modernity? It's okay. Like, I have calendar, everything. Even if I have small calendar, because it is lightweight, but still there is a calendar, and we can see the dates and everything is there. Some applications are minimalistic and may lack advanced option. So yeah, that's one downside. Okay, so now we are done with the introduction. So there's not much to tell about XFCE. XFCE, like you can see that actually desktop settings, if I go, it uses a window manager called XFWM, which is like its own window manager, and all the windows displayed are shown through it. And when you go in the settings manager, you get Linux Mint offers many things like appearance and everything, and notifications pop like this. And you have all the Linux Mint XFCE have everything which you need. And yeah, I made it like fairly modern, so it looks very modern and very simple. And making these customizations, what I have done is very simple. You have desktop icons, you have everything simple. So this is what XFCE is, and everything works any desk. I have Telegram. Zap is the open source version of WhatsApp client, and Zoom and everything important, and Audacity, OBS Studio, from which I am recording, and office work and everything is all right. Everything proper. Let me tell you, XFCE is very customizable. I have customized it very well, and this panel can be customized very well through panel preferences. And this is what, like, many customizations you can do. You can make this panel go down, up, left, right. Okay, so this was a basic overview of XFCE, and like this windows come, and it's just snappy. It has no animation, but it's snappy. And the most important thing is my laptop doesn't get hot using it, and so that's very good thing about it. And it's very low on resources. So that's what I want: simple, elegant, low resources, everything, all the files there, everything there. That is what we need. And networks and everything. And you have the Linux Mint support. You have the codecs installation and everything. You have the update manager. You can check for updates. You can refresh, install updates. All the GUI is provided by Linux Mint. And Linux Mint XFCE is best if you have what we call old computer, uh, like 15 years or 10 years. But still, XFCE is modern and it can do modern things also, and it can handle old hardware better. File manager use this tuna. Uh, if I see about, it's the tuna, and then there is a catfish file search from which you can very well search. If I write economics, and I have so many things. Okay, and like this, I have the Steam also installed. I have everything. And one important thing I wanted to show is XFCE is one of the few desktop environment which has presentation mode. And in presentation mode, if you turn on the presentation mode and you do a PPT presentation or PowerPoint presentation, the screen will not go blank. The screen will not turn off. It will always be on. It's like always on display. Okay, like no lock screen will not appear, and you will not have to go back to the laptop. It's good for professors, and it's good for teachers, professors who don't want to go back to their laptop and to just open the laptop because it turned off. So this feature is not that on Windows. It's not there by default, because I see professors using Windows. They want to again rush back to their PCs to open put their password again and open everything again. But in XFCE presentation mode, you just turn it on and the display will not go off and everything will run smoothly. But for now, I will turn it off because I'm not presenting and I want my system to like go on sleep and walk. Okay, so this was all about XFCE desktop environment. So this was the review of XFCE desktop environment, and this message you have to always remember: be free, use open source, use Linux. So goodbye, see you again.